a 5-minute video, or at least I'm gonna try. So often life will show you and present to you things that you need to do. For example, a shed. If you walk into your shed and you see things everywhere, and there's no organization whatsoever, there's a big fat mess in there. It's hard to find stuff. It's hard to make sense out of anything there, right? Now, our life is a lot like what we see on Earth. You can relate it to what's going on in our lives. So what I mean to say by that is that if you have a hard time focusing and concentrating, if you have a hard time putting together a life that you have a hard time finding stuff and you're just producing like success and victory, then it could be that the same thing that you have to do in the shed, you have to do with your thoughts. You have to do with your feelings. You have to do with your life. You have to make sense out of stuff. You have to put stuff where it belongs. You see where I'm going with this? You see how I'm bringing one thing and I'm showing you that life is like, you can say, you can depict life by what you see with your physical eyes, and you can attribute it to yourself. Okay, for example, I'm looking at trees right now with rose petals and whatnot. Some of them have flower petals and whatnot on the trees, and it looks beautiful, right? Now, if that tree is planted on the wrong soil and it's not watered, it won't have the petals. It won't. It will be dried out, and it will be brown, and it won't look pretty at all. It'll look ugly. So how can you take that and attribute it to your own life? It's very simple. You can do this with anything in life. If you're planted in the wrong place, meaning if you're around, if that tree was planted on wrong soil, it wouldn't look as beautiful as it does. Likewise, if you're planted with the wrong people, places, and things, if you're in bad soil, if you're around triggered people, drug addicts, alcoholics, people that commit crimes and all that, and you look ugly as a result, it's where you're what's it called? It's where you're rooted. It's where you're planted. It's the soil where you're at. So you need to move, take out, move to a place where you're surrounded by beauty and positivity and stuff like that. Very simple. Start doing things that contribute to your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, and put things, set yourself up for success in those ways where you just surround yourself with what you want to be. So, take the street. I'm driving right now as an example, right? And the street, it has lines on it so that I can stay between the lanes. And then a lot of times it has an arrow. When you don't know which way, it's going this way or that way, so it has direction. Right? So if I'm driving on the street and I have an arrow facing this way and I'm facing that way, it could very well be that I could be going on a head-on collision. Something as practical as that people are doing to themselves. They are driving against oncoming traffic. And the way that they're driving against oncoming traffic is that they're not playing to their strengths. They've adopted a lifestyle that doesn't produce success. It doesn't produce victory. It produces chaos. It produces lawlessness. It produces head-on collisions. And then, in the same way that they're driving against oncoming traffic, they want to complain and play the victim as to why they don't get breaks, as to why they don't get job opportunities, as to why they don't see success and victory like other people that are driving on the right side of the road, doing things appropriate accordingly, stopping at stop signs, yielding and merging where the signs say and this and that. They're not taking red lights. They're not, and so this is just an analogy to say that there's a lot of people driving recklessly, and it's no wonder driving recklessly why they can never reach their destination. They always seem like they're trying to get somewhere, but they never quite get to where they want to be. And it's because they're not doing the things according to what they need to do in order to get to where they want to be. When you see rappers and all this stuff, and they're living chaotically, and they're what's it called? They're living the devil life, and so the devil needs props to get people to get deceived in the first place. So the youngsters need somebody to look up to, and if the devil doesn't have props to use, then the youngsters will follow the right side of the road, and then they'll get saved and they'll live righteously. And the devil doesn't want that. The devil, according to the Bible, is the father of lies. He's the great deceiver. And so he tries to mimic, or he tries to make out the wrong road to produce right results. That's what he tries to do. And basically, he does that often, where you see the movies and the actors, and you see the rappers and this and that. They all living the wrong life, getting quote unquote the right results. It's because the devil needs to take these props, put them up on the forefront to deceive the masses, to saying, listen, look, if you live this way, you can get this amount of money, that you can get these cars, these women, this, that, and the other. Nobody ever talks about the decline on the internal, the fact that most of them, they have mental illness, they have demons, they're depressed individuals, they're dead on the inside, they got all this stuff to flash and all this glamorous diamonds and stuff like that. But what good is it if on the inside they're in complete darkness? They're in complete darkness, tormented and tortured by demons, and demons run their life. They're not in control. So when you see them going and flashing their chains and this and that, it's not even them. There's a demon that's running that person's life. And I used to have a lot of demons, so I know what that's like. When demons try to recruit other people through you, and you're just watching yourself being used by a demon to recruit somebody that doesn't know any better, a younger generation. And I was used to do that. I used to not have anything on the inside worth of value because of how I lived. But the outside is what I lived for back then. It was all about smiling and never giving you the ability to see how broken I was on the inside. Because I had to look like I had it all together. It was all about image, reputation. So how you dressed, what you wore, and this big smile, those things you could control, and you could deceive people, If you dress really nice and you smile really big, doesn't matter how broken you are, you can deceive people like that. And the devil used to do that through me to get other people to smoke weed and do a bunch of drugs and stuff like that. Because I used to give off the notion of, I got this life is the best life. I'm on this side of the fence, and I'm just so happy. And when I say nothing could be further from the truth, I mean it. I was so miserable, but something was smiling really, really big through me. Almost like a fishing line baiting the hook and saying, let's see who else we could deceive and get over here, so that they could smoke and drink and do all this stuff. And it was all deception. And that's what you see on television. That's what you see, because that's what deceived me in the first place. It was the TV. And then I followed along, because surely it looked like that's where all the treasure was in life. And that's where I found hell. That's where I found demons. That's where I found torture and torment. And they don't let you go easily. Anybody that does drugs and alcohol, they will tell you, man, I want to quit, but I can't. Because they don't let you go easily. It's like joining a gang. It's not easy to leave. But with God, all things are possible. Jesus Christ can save anybody. But the person has to want to leave that life, and they have to want it with their whole heart. Like, they have to tap out. They have to, like, submit. Like, that's it, I'm done. And it takes that in order to leave. For real. That's why a lot of people say, I want deliverance, but they don't want it with everything that they have inside. Like, you have to be done. There can't be an inch of you that says, oh, I'll go back to this one day. Can't be an inch of that. Because life is hard. Life is going to throw at you curveballs, especially when the devil's on earth. And so if you have that inch, the devil could expose and say, oh, look, they still have reservations, and he'll take you back. It's just that simple. It's not even hard for him. So that's the video, guys. I don't want to get too complicated, too long with the video. I think I said I was going to do 5 minutes, and I'm going on 12. But anyways, I believe it to be good content, and I believe it to be beneficial. So I get a pass, so to speak. But yeah, you can make life, if you look at life, I'll just end the video with this. If you look at life, you can take the things that you see and attribute it to yourself. Like I was doing with the shed and the street and the trees and all that. Like, you can take anything. Like, for example, look. Excuse me, hold on.